right, that's enough noise. That is enough noise. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Labor Day episode of Next to the Floor. My name is Harrison. I'm your host. With the most, and I'm joined by the one and only good guy, Gary. Do. Hi, Gary.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
It's going, enjoying the weekend.
That's good.
The end of the weekend.
I know. I feel like for a 3-day weekend, I was very busy the entire time.
It definitely didn't feel like a 3-day weekend, I'll tell you that. Even me who didn't really do anything. Maybe it's because I didn't do anything.
Right.
Made it feel like it went by so fast. But the thing is, you did a lot.
I was doing everything.
What'd you do?
Oh man.
I heard you went on a little trip.
Yeah, well, I went down to New York City yesterday with Catherine to do some coaching at the Broadway studio, which was wicked fun. Wicked cute studio. It was fun to see a bunch of the instructors that we see on I don't want to say a regular basis, because I guess what is regular, but we see
more often than everybody else sees them, I guess, if they weren't in the area.
Yeah. Yes. So it was fun to see them all in kind of their natural habitat of their studio, which was cute.
No, the Broadway studio moved, didn't they?
Yeah, they've moved.
It's not on Broadway anymore.
It's not on Broadway anymore. No, it's on 72nd and I could just look it up and tell you. It's on, I think, 72nd and Riverfront Drive, along those lines.
But it's off
Riverside
Broadway, though.
Yeah, it's off Broadway. It's just it's a couple of blocks down from Broadway, maybe 2 blocks off Broadway. But
do they have off Broadway prices?
No.
No.
On a slightly related note, so do you know why they refer to various shows as on Broadway, off Broadway, and then off Broadway? Do you know where the classification, or what that classification is all about?
I'm assuming because they're no longer on Broadway, like the tour is no longer on Broadway or booked with that specific, company. And then now they're like the original, okay, so I don't know. Wait, I thought I'd know. Isn't it and it's not because of the original cast, because it's just oh, it's on Broadway once it's the original cast. But I've been to Broadway shows where it hasn't been the original cast of when it was in Broadway, when it got back to Broadway, went back on Broadway. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah. Well, I
don't want to say it's just oh, because it's the street, and I'm I don't want to go jump right into that.
Well,
but it kind of is.
I can tell you,
but it's a little bit more.
It is.
But I'm gonna keep on going on and on and on.
Yeah. So to prevent you from doing that, I'll just tell you the answer. So the classification of a show, as far as whether it's on Broadway, off Broadway, or off Broadway, has nothing to do with the location of the show. I mean, so I guess it's more specific. These terms are more specifically located, or are more specific for New York City, obviously, because that's where Broadway is. But a show is considered on Broadway if the theater that it is located, if the show that the show is in, I should say, the theater that the show is in, I think if it can hold for one seating, I think it's over 1,000 guests.
Yeah, the
So
seating
it's
capacity.
about the capacity of the theater rather than the location of the actual show itself. That, I mean, that being said, the majority of like on Broadway shows, that is like the larger theaters, all happen to be like on Broadway, coincidentally.
I That's funny because I knew that and I just couldn't think of it.
But there are a couple of on Broadway shows that are like that aren't technically on Broadway. So that's where you have like the like New World stages over on, I want to say that's on like 40 or 40th or something along those lines, or 41st Street, 41st and 8th, so like a block over. And then, but then like off Broadway, I can actually pull up those exact, I'll just pull up the numbers for the people so that way I don't sound stupid. Broadway versus off Broadway.
It'd have been funny if it was something stupid like how many exits the theater has.
So it's
How many restrooms the theater has. Oh, it's off Broadway if they have if they have a number of restrooms.
so
That's
how
how you know.
this is from playbill.com. How to tell Broadway from off Broadway from off Broadway. So the Manhattan Theater District is located between 41st and 43rd Streets, between 8th and basically like 8th and 7th Avenue. There are 41 Broadway theaters, approximately 85 off-Broadway theaters, and 120 off-Broadway theaters. An on-Broadway theater has a 500 and larger capacity audience, whereas off-Broadway is 99 to 499, whereas off-Broadway is 99 or fewer.
That makes sense.
So there you go. There you have it.
There you have it.
Things to think about.
Now you know.
Now you know. And if you didn't know, now you know. And I'm a bit sad because I did not actually get to go. The plan was to go see a show, but unfortunately we did not get the opportunity.
What show were you planning on seeing?
Oh, well, I wanted to take Kat to go see Six.
Oh yeah, that's why you're like hyping yourself
Oh
up
my
with
gosh.
the soundtrack.
It is so good. I don't think people understand, you know. I was never really a big like history nut at all. Like at all. But there's something fun about putting history into the context of musical theater. Like historical musical theater is just wicked fun.
Yeah.
So like shows like 1776 are wicked good. Hamilton, Six, it's all numbers apparently, and everything has to do with like the founding fathers, or I guess in this case Six, the six former wives of Henry VIII.
Even if they rap it,
Even
you're
if
still digging it, even if they rap
I'm
it.
still into it, you know, truthfully. I mean, like, okay, so this is an unpopular theater opinion, so I apologize to everybody who I offend. But at this stage in the game, like, I'm a little bit over Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, I'm a little bit over it.
I feel that.
It kind of has the same, like, some of it is the same, like, Frozen effect for me, where it was just like so saturated that I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, I love me some historical, some Broadway takes on history.
as long as it has a good flow,
As
good
long as
rhyme
it,
scheme.
I mean, I'm saying, the what other show? I mean, like, I guess historical is a way to describe it, but like even like there was a whole slew of in like the late 70s or late 60s early 70s of like Bible stories told through musical theater, which are all so good.
Yeah.
From like Jesus Christ Superstar, Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Children of Eden, Godspell. um there is another one. I mean, Prince of Egypt was the 90s, and I don't know about you, but of the movies from childhood that like went far too hard with their musical score and their soundtrack, the Prince of Egypt, which was like Dreamworks, one of Dreamworks like original pieces, that went above and beyond for no reason.
They just were showing
They
off.
were
They
showing
were just
up,
showing off.
and they did the damn thing. And I mean, not for nothing, I actually read into, I do all this random ass reading for no particular reason. But
You need to stop that. Reading
I
is totally bad
I
for you.
know I actually do have a whole bunch of reading to do before tomorrow, so I'm so behind on everything. Excuse me. But one thing that I did learn, as far as the Prince of Egypt is concerned, that Prince of Egypt, which was, I think I do believe it was DreamWorks. Um, Prince of Egypt, 1999. Yeah, it was DreamWorks. Um, it was one of their kind of like first big movies, and in 1998 they were competing obviously with the likes of Disney and trying basically not to be like put under by Disney. I think DreamWorks, uh I forget, when did Shrek come out?
1992.
Definitely think that is not
I
correct.
don't know. I was just a guess. I just said a number.
I
You should probably look
definitely
that
think
up.
that is not correct. Shrek. Yeah. Shrek came out in 2001. Oh, okay, so DreamWorks
I was thinking Lion King.
before The Prince of Egypt had a couple of films that came out that just were like categorical misses, unfortunately. Um, so they had uh, what were their what were their movies that they did? I think they were eventually bought out by Disney, of course. Um, but they did. Didn't they do Treasure Planet? Anywho, doesn't matter. The point is, they didn't have like any success at all when they first started, and so basically, as kind of like a final like opportunity to kind of make a name for themselves, they decided to do Prince of Egypt as like their kind of magnum opus, as it were. And they enlisted the likes of Hans Zimmer for music, who, if you don't know who Hans Zimmer is, he is one of the most prolific um, musicians for movies and film scores ever.
He's like the John Williams of everything else.
Yeah, I mean, like he helped create the score for The Lion King, like worked side by side Elton John. He's basically every single Disney movie that's ever come out is Hans Zimmer. He did The Gladiator, The Last Samurai, Pirates of the Caribbean series, the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Dune, all sorts of stuff. Like he's a big name, and has won tons and tons and tons of Emmys and Tonys, and awesome. He's like an EGOT in music. So he's a big name. So they enlisted him to write the music, and then Um, for the cast, they had Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, Sandra Bullock, which I didn't know that, Steve Martin, Michelle Pfeiffer, Martin Short, Patrick Stewart. They got like some of the biggest names, Jeff Goldblum, some of the biggest names in Hollywood to do voice acting for this movie. And when I tell you that the music in this movie is so freaking good, every single song is a bop.
I know they're like Hans Zimmer. Oh, where do I sign? Yeah, they know it's gonna be
Yes.
crazy.
It was so good. Anywho, I don't know how we got into this topic of Hans Zimmer. Oh, biblical stories as musicals.
Hmm.
You know, I am a huge fan. I think it's a really genius, because I think there's growing up Roman Catholic, right? I think one of the things that I always connected to the most as far as like going to, really the only thing I connected to as far as going to the church on Sunday was the music. And I thought like the music really was kind of the only thing that was in it for me as far as going to church. The rest of it was a bit boring, and going to like CCD classes was like, shoot me.
You must have been at one of those fun churches, though, those new age churches that had
I
a rock band up front,
definitely
didn't you?
was not like old school, like
No,
no, I went to like old school Italian Roman Catholic church, St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church.
okay, I can appreciate the chord progressions with the hymns and everything.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, I could.
yeah, like I know most, and by most I mean the majority of like the art and music from the Rome, like from the Catholic Church, was stolen from other places. But as far as the arts are concerned, the Roman Catholic Church really did the damn thing.
Yeah,
They really did. They
music
really
wise,
did it.
like choral wise, like if oh my gosh,
Like when
like
we use the word like otherworldly or like heavenly, some of these hymns that we were like, some of these hymns that we were singing, just kind of like the harmonies that we were creating in the chorus were like, I don't know, there's something really mystical, magical, amazing about it. But anywho, like they did such a good job with this freaking movie, and I could wax poetic about it forever, but that's not the point. Didn't get to go see a Broadway show. Wanted to go see Six. Almost went to go see Little Shop of Horrors, but I forgot, because I haven't been to a Broadway show in forever, that Sundays typically are matinee only. So their only shows are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which coincidentally was when we were doing coaching at the Broadway
ah,
studio.
there's a little snag there.
Yeah, which happened to be it was wicked fun. I learned a lot. Have a brand new mambo, which
Did you do like a triple or a single? How
we
many did it take you?
did.
Because I mean,
We did four. We were dancing for about 4 hours. 4 hours of
nice.
coaching. It was really great. It was super helpful. We got some really cool new choreography. Um, by the end of it, I was like mentally, I was just like, I can't do anymore. It's like I can't take in any more information. I can't move my body
Yeah,
anymore.
you get to that point where it's just like you've been dancing so long, you just
Mm-hmm.
start messing up no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you like have been killing this one section in the cha-cha, you know, if you practice for too long, sometimes and you start messing up stuff you've already had,
Yeah.
you can't get the stuff you're working on, then that's when it's just like, all right.
And it was so funny because at one point, like, we had danced through pretty much and by danced, I mean, like, walked through pretty much the entire bit of choreography that we had just learned, and were able to do it. And then this was towards the end. Kat and I both walked through the entire thing, and then I grabbed my phone to, like, just play a little bit of music because they had a party going on. And so I was just like, I just want to see how long it is. So I put on a mambo and started working through it, and got through probably like three 8 counts of it and then just stopped. And both our coach and Kat looked at me and were like, "What's wrong?" And I just looked at them and I was like, "I forgot the choreography." It's like I can't remember any of it anymore.
It's just like that moment where you just stop and you're like, I don't know where I'm at.
I don't know.
Like in the choreography, like
No,
nowhere.
just in
All right,
general.
where are we?
Right.
Like, what time is it?
Oh my gosh.
Who are you?
But it was really like, it was super great coaching. I learned a boatload. I learned about hip twists and how to do them properly. Can I do them properly? Absolutely not.
Very nice.
But I'm
I
excited
mean,
about the prospect.
you'll get it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the prospect.
Are you talking about like, the right like hip twists, talk about like international Latin type thing?
Sorta. I mean, one thing I learned is that the hip twist, this is the phrase that I'm going to use, and I'll explain it later, is that the hip twist happens in the air. Mm-hmm. So just think on it. So think on it.
I feel that. I understand that.
Anywho.
Because if you try to make it too heavy, then
Yeah. It doesn't work.
then it'll get kind of like rough. Doesn't
Um,
work. It'll be too
stuck.
Is there such thing as too grounded?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
be
yeah.
too grounded. I can see how that works.
Um,
Uh,
but aside from doing nothing, did you do anything this weekend?
um, was
That was a really exciting sound that you just made.
let's see. I will have to recap my day because I can't remember anything. Friday was nice. Got off of work. Was really super excited about that. Um, went home, ate some food, went to sleep.
Nice.
Saturday. What do you Saturday? Went out to eat Saturday
Nice.
with my significant other, Marcy. It was her
Marcy.
birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Woo! It was her birthday. We went out to eat. We when I tell you we didn't go to like a specific place. I mean, we did go to a specific place, but we didn't eat one specific like restaurant because we went to a place where we can sit down in the middle of this plaza
Nice.
and like people will bring us food from like 10 different
That's
restaurants
awesome.
around
Where
us.
was that?
Um, in Cambridge somewhere. I forgot what the name is. Marcy's probably gonna run here in like 5 seconds and tell me what the name is. But there's a delay, so she probably won't hear it until probably like 7 seconds. So we'll see. Hold on.
Yeah. Let's see if Marcy,
I don't remember.
if you know what Gary talks about or is talking about, just, comment in the chat. Let him know.
Hold on, you mean yell real quick.
Oh, she's in the chat. She heard. She says, "Aw, shucks."
What'd she say?
Um, it's called Bow Market in Somerville.
Oh, it's in Somerville, not Cambridge. See, I know what we're doing all the time. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, no, we went to this place. It's cool. Bull Market is cool because you sit down and you wouldn't expect the place that we went to be kind of like an established kind of like restaurant eating area because like even the first time I went there, I went and tried to sit down and they're like, "Excuse me, you can't sit down here." I'm like, "What do you mean there's seats here?" I'm like, "This is like a dining area." And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. It's like in Union Square.
"Yeah,
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, this place
yeah,
is like new.
yeah." It's actually pretty dope.
Yeah.
They have a really cool food, like really great food there.
Yeah.
And the portion sizes are small, but be careful because they're filling. And they just, bring stuff out and bring you drinks. I had like two espresso martinis, which wasn't a mistake. It was a
Nice.
mistake. They were good, but it
There's a
wasn't a mistake.
sows there. Nice. Cool. That's fun. Yeah, that whole area has like really exploded lately. I drove through there the other day. Um I don't know why. and I don't know where I was going or what for, but like that entire section right in front of it's on like off of Bow Street and Somerville Ave.
Definitely
But like
a
that
little
entire
crush.
area like is turned into like a little mini market place sort of deal. It's wicked fun.
Yeah, they got festivals going on there and
Yeah.
everything. Like it's a little cool place to kind of like kick it. And honestly, like I'm always find myself over there like in the fall mostly. I don't know
And
why.
and now that the green line goes there,
I know, right?
it becomes a lot easier to make it happen.
But that was fun. That was cool. It was cool. Yeah, it was a funny thing to happen. Like somebody tried to like sit by us at our table. Like granted, like we had this massive seating space because they had a reservation before us that was like 5 people or something, and they never showed up, so they just went ahead and like switched us to that table because that's the only one they had left or something. I don't know. But anyways, we were sitting at this huge like seating area, and then these people came out of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh, can we sit down?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna look like I'm gonna look like a D bat. I don't know what I can say on Facebook. I don't want to get you demonetized. I don't even know if you're monetizing this. I don't
I
even know.
I mean,
I don't know. A jerk. I'm gonna
mm,
feel like I'm gonna sound like a jerk saying, "I'm sorry, you can't sit with us because this is actually a reserved table. You should go check
sorry
up with
about
the
it.
front with the hostess."
Right. Well,
But it was all cool.
they didn't know, and you were trying to do the right thing,
But
but
so here's the funny thing. So they got seated and they like turned around and looked at us and we're like, how come we couldn't sit there?
because I said so.
And then like the waitress looked and then like looked at me and then like looked at the MDC and then looked at them and was just like, because somebody is sitting there. And then they looked at the waitress or the hostess and was just like, really? And she's like, yeah. I was like, so what? We have a big table. Get over it. But other than that, like it was really cool. It was really chill.
People stay trying to fight.
I
Telling
don't know.
you.
That was a useless story, but
Stay trying to fight. It wasn't a useless story. It was a good story. I feel it. I feel it.
so so this is what we got to eat. We got lumpia.
Love.
Lumpia was great. We got some vegan pizza
Nice.
that I wasn't drunk enough to eat, so I
Right.
took it home,
Okay.
drank a little bit more, and then eat it,
Nice.
and then ate it. Um, chicken wings.
Love.
Don't ask me what flavor were. I don't remember. And I think that's it.
Well, that sounds good. I dig that. Well, it sounds like a very fun day. And
Yeah.
of course, the happiest of birthdays to Marcy.
Shout out to Marcy. You
Shout
getting
out,
old.
mad shout outs to Marcy.
Old.
Only a little.
Just a little.
But
This is a
there's
little.
nothing wrong with getting older.
I'm just messing with her.
In fact,
I'm just messing.
aren't we all getting older?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Aren't
Yes.
we all?
What did I do Sunday? That was Saturday. So what did I do Sunday? Nothing
Nice.
at all. Just laid in bed. Stretched a lot.
I dig that.
Told myself I was gonna drink water. Didn't drink any water.
Nice.
Um, played some Skyrim. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
No wait. Yeah. Pretty uneventful weekend. And then Monday,
Which is
today's
today.
Monday,
Today.
rehearsal.
Yep.
We had some rehearsal, and then now I'm here with you.
Word.
The day in the life of Gary Derrick.
Nice. I this morning woke up, got in the shower, packed, left our hotel, walked down the street, asked the guy who I'm pretty sure was going to the bathroom in a paper bag.
Sounds like Boston.
That was New York. Very much New York.
Oh, sounds like New
Yeah.
York. Yeah. Yeah.
And then got on our bus and came home. And here I am. Here I am now, in the flesh. So I had an important question to ask, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I
Oh
probably
my
derailed
gosh.
it by talking.
No, it's okay. If there's no such thing as derailing a good conversation, Gary. And that is an important thing. It's a good conversation. It's a good conversation. What did I want to talk about? I wanted to get your opinion. Actually, I wanted to say, it was really interesting. You know, I got off the phone, speaking of being on vacation and then not doing anything. I spoke to my brother yesterday, which I very seldomly do. So you know, and you've never met I don't think you've met like any of my family. Have you met my
I
sister?
don't think no.
No.
I don't think I've met any of your family.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, well, good
I'm
for
trying
you.
to think.
Good for you. I think one of the lucky few. Anywho, I'm just kidding. I love my family. But I got off the phone. I was talking to my brother yesterday. Because, and I guess a quick backstory, a little insight into our life as siblings. We haven't spoken to or I haven't, at least personally, and probably the same for my sister. I haven't spoken to our father in the last like 15 years. Yes, 15 years. So I've never really had a relationship with my father. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, and it was a whole thing. And then I graduated and moved, and we just have never really had a relationship. So as siblings, none of us have really had a relationship with our father for quite literally the last, at most, or at minimum, 15 years. And so my older brother, who, you know, has been married for a little while, but is now married and has a son. My nephew, he's so cute. Received or gets a phone call from our estranged father last week, maybe the week before. After quite literally 15 years saying stuff along the lines of like, you know, blah blah blah, you know, I want to meet my daughter-in-law and my new grandson. Right? See that look? Exactly.
I'd be like, did you get your cigarettes?
Oh.
Like, did you get whole milk or skim milk? Like,
Honestly, I
mean, the store has been closed.
It's been closed for about 15 years, and now all of a sudden you want to just like swoop in. What? But you know, it was interesting because that day when I found out, and part of the reason why he called is because, I guess this is what I've heard, because I obviously have, or not obviously, but I haven't received a phone call from him saying anything. But apparently, according to my brother, via this conversation that he had with our dad, that he was diagnosed recently with, I think, either pancreatic or prostate cancer. I'm not entirely sure. One of those. Horrible, horrible thing to happen. Wouldn't wish that on anybody, right? But I feel like burying that lead in the conversation behind, oh, hey, we haven't spoken for 15 years. I want to meet my grandson and daughter-in-law. Oh, by the way, that's kind of a shitty thing to do. And also very like low class. Who does that?
Uh, yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
I
Wait, bury the lead or want to visit, like, want to like meet
bury
or
the.
step back in the life of that you haven't been a part of just because you're dying?
I guess both, both,
Both. Yeah.
both. Right? That like, I can understand. I can understand.
Imagine, yeah, but like imagine like, yeah. Well, because he chose not to be in your life in the first place. It's not like
And that is on period. That is that on that period. He made that conscious decision 15 years ago to chuck the
because
deuces.
it'd be different situation if like it was like kind of like an adoption type situation, and like he knew he had a son but like he didn't know where, or I don't know how you want to spin it,
I
and
mean,
like but like he
yeah, but in that, I guess in that context, if there was no like actual connection to your child, right? If there was literally no connection aside from like a legality sort of thing, then maybe, right? But if you brought three kids into this world, like you brought three children into this world and saw them through most of their formative years, right? And then we're still not necessarily like a full part of their life, but still an active part of their life until, how old was my sister? She was probably like 14 or 15. I was 18 when I left for school, and then he moved down to Baltimore. Like that's
Okay, so that's like you're a full grown adult.
I
You're
I
18.
just graduated from high school. So,
And
I just think it's a little, so this is where, like, I say that I can understand wanting to try to rekindle that relationship now, specifically when you're faced with kind of like world altering, life shattering news,
but then like
right?
it's pretty shitty for you too, because it's just like, okay, now you're gonna hop back into my life, make an emotional connection, and then like peace out again, but like forever.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and I think that's kind of, there's been a couple of things that I think that the three of us, myself, my brother, and my sister, have been, and, I don't want to speak for them because I know my sister is, for what it's worth, she's never really had like a true relationship with our father because she was 4 years old when my parents got divorced. And so her only real relationship with him has been this guy that she sees on every other weekend, or
Yeah.
saw every other weekend. Um, so like she's never really had a relationship with him, and that's fine for her. So like she's, I think, moved on and doing fine. My older brother, he had the longest relationship with our father, for what it's worth, for a while. It was not a very good one, but he at least had like a semblance of something there. So I think he's been kind of coping with things a bit more difficultly. And then, there's me, who, as kind of like the middle child, and I was kind of caught in this like weird world, right? Where like, I knew my father long enough, or had enough of a relationship with him because they divorced when I was 8, that like I knew who he was and he was still a constant presence. But then I also have like a stepfather who came into my life when I was 13 or so.
Yeah, so he was kind of like that father figure in your life at that time, like
Right.
before your actual dad like left, right? Because your actual dad left at like 18.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, so it's kind of this weird world where, like, in one sense, for me, that I've kind of been holding out to hope that there would be some sort of like semblance of desire to rekindle, like from him on his side, to be able to like call, apologize, and want to rekindle a relationship, so that way I can just say like, no, no, thank you, I'm not interested.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit difficult now once you're presented with the extra information.
Well,
And
yeah,
now you seem like you're like a jerk.
but I really don't think that I do, because yeah, I can I guess this is where I have, what I've come to grips with is that I can feel bad, right? I can provide sympathy and empathy. Like, I don't want to sound cold and say like, "Oh my gosh, that sucks." Like, sorry about it. But like, my emotions I've kind of gone all over the place, right? Because a part of me, when I first got all of this news, I was so mad and so frustrated that, like, for a couple of reasons. One, I think I was just mad that, like, rather than reaching out, and I think this is me being a middle child and just constantly jealous and envious of my siblings, but like, he reached out to my older brother and hasn't reached out to me, right? Like, why?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I
Like,
was
where was my
like,
opportunity to get the news? Like, why did I have to hear the news secondhand?
hmm,
And then, but
yeah, why couldn't it be like a little group call?
right,
A little group chat.
right. And so like, I was frustrated by that, and then like, I think another part is that like, I was sad for him, because I know that, like, for what it's worth, that's like, it's scary times. I think his emotions or feelings about the whole scenario are perfectly valid. I think he's allowed to be afraid and want to try to remake or reestablish connections. I think that's a
Yeah,
totally valid and fair thing.
I feel
But
like that's the first thing that he thought about, honestly.
yeah, but then also at the same time, I was also irked by the fact that it came from, and this is also weird to say, but it comes from a very selfish place, right? That it feels like that it's not about reestablishing the relationship to reestablish the relationship, right? And to amend for all of his misgivings. And
Is he a religious man?
oh well, I don't know. I mean,
Because you told me you were like brought up like
I was brought
Roman
up Roman
Catholic.
Catholic. That is more from my grandmother, like my mom's side of the family. They were very much Roman Catholic. My father is Southern Baptist, maybe Lutheran,
Gotcha.
I think. But I I I think he's got to be praying to someone, But all that being said, right? I think there's something very disingenuous about trying to reestablish a relationship, not to atone for sins of the past, but to make yourself feel better about your current circumstances. Right? So like,
No, I feel that.
it's not a like, I want to, hey, like, if I hurt you 50, I'm sorry for not reaching out or talking to you or having a relationship for you with 15 years. I was a real shitty person, blah 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 blah. Here's my current circumstance, and I'm scared, alone, and need help. Right? That's not that
Help with.
that's not the conversation that is being had. It is, hey, I have this issue, and I want you to help me. That's kind of that's kind of how the relationship is being sought after.
Ah, that's what you mean in
Yeah.
like a selfish. What do you mean in a
Yeah.
selfish
Yeah, yeah,
type
yeah. So
type manner? Okay.
there's there's no accountability for previous misdoings and misgivings,
Yeah.
right? And it's unfortunate that it's come to that. And I think ultimately for me what I'm looking for, and part of the reason why I've been like struggling with trying to figure out, like, do I reach out to him and have these words with him, or do I wait for that phone call that I know for a fact is never going to show up, right? I know for a fact that I'm never going to get that phone call, because that's just always that's been the status quo forever. And if it does happen, great, pleasant surprise. But you know part of why I want there to be a conversation is because I know that for myself, I need to allow myself to forgive him for those things so that I can move on.
Yeah.
I don't want to forgive him so that he can feel better, because frankly, I hope that he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like a horrible, malicious thing, but
I don't think so. I mean, like, it was a big effect that he
right,
had on your
like
life when.
he and part of my language, but here we are. But like he royally fucked up.
I honestly like if I were in your shoes, like I'd be having the same feelings as you, honestly.
But thus is life. Thus is life. But it'll all sort itself out. I'll probably end up making a phone call and saying my piece.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably you're like you said, you're probably doing it for you.
Oh, 100%. This conversation, this like whole reach out, right? It's not for him. This isn't for him to feel better.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's honestly kind of the biggest lesson to be gleaned from this, right? Is that forgiveness is not, it should never be about the other person, right? And you shouldn't, when going through the process of like healing, right? That forgiveness, you provide forgiveness for yourself, right? You forgive the other person so that you can move on with your life. It's not so that the other person can feel better and have that kind of plaintive air that says like, "Oh, okay, cool. All is forgiven. Wash our hands of the whole scenario and move on," right? It's so that like,
Yeah.
I can say, "Listen, you fucked up. That's on you. But I've washed my hands of this whole scenario and this whole situation, and I'm moving on. So, I forgive you for what you've done, because I don't want you to have any more emotional stake in my life, right? I don't want,
Sounds about right.
right? I don't want somebody to live rent free in my mind like that.
Yeah. Dang. So I mean, you sound like you've already made up your mind about like giving the phone call, like
Yeah.
initiating the conversation.
Yeah, it's more that I'm irked and annoyed that I have to again be the mature one, which is wild to me that I'm his child, right?
And you still have to initiate.
even though I'm a grown ass man, which is, it's weird. I'm an adult. I'm a 30 something year old adult. Notice I said 30 something because I'm not trying to, age myself. But I am a grown adult, and this this guy is 20, 30 years my senior, and yet I have to be the adult in the scenario.
I'm just playing devil's advocate now, but maybe he's not initiating conversation because he feels that like you won't answer, or
Well,
he's scared of if you do answer,
and
maybe he's just not ready to have the conversation
oh,
yet.
100%. And for what it's worth, part of the conversation that was had with my brother, between my father and my brother, um, was part of the reason why he hasn't reached out to us is because he didn't know if we'd want to talk to him. And,
Yeah.
rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's accurate. Nailed it right on the nose. But I think there's,
I feel like if I may, like I feel
yeah,
like something like that doesn't matter. Like even if you're reaching out for selfish reasons, even if like information like that, at least it's information that like you like
yeah,
that you should pass. If you want to look at it like baseline,
mm-hmm.
like without the selfish like need for forgiveness. Well, you know what I mean. Like you know what he's like asking you for, whatever he's asking you for. Like I feel like you deserve a phone call regardless.
At
You
any
know?
at any time between when I was 18 and now.
Yeah, like yeah.
Because, I mean, and maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But even if I were somebody's parent, and I walked out of somebody's life, I would at least want to know, like, firsthand, if th- that if my child didn't want to speak to me, right? Rather than living on that assumption or that notion, right? Because you know what they say about assuming,
Yeah.
right? Because what if it
Mhm.
was the case that I did want to have that conversation?
I feel like he didn't even give you a chance.
Right. And then, there's obviously more to this whole story and scenario that we don't necessarily need to, like, 'cause the fact that he's kept up tabs on my brother's life, my brother's entire life, knows just about everything that my brother's done. That's how he knew that my brother was married, how he knew he had a baby, about like my brother's football, about all sorts of stuff. But how much does he know about me and my life?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah. But, this is life. Anywho, I think the moral of this whole entire scenario, and for people out there listening, is that forgiveness is not for the person who has done wrong. Forgiveness is for yourself so that you can heal and move on from the scenario. That you can either wash your hands or just allow yourself to live so that person doesn't continue to hold you in emotional, mental, physical bondage and
Burden.
or turmoil, right?
Yeah.
And once you recognize that and are able to, I think, you know allow forgiveness and not necessarily grace, but allow forgiveness in that scenario, it makes it easy. Not necessarily for them. It might make it easier for them, who knows? But at that point, it's not your business. It's above you at that point,
Hmm.
right? They're gonna have to deal with a higher power.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You prepared for that conversation though?
I think so. I mean, I stay ready for every conversation, you know. You know me. You know me, because if you stay ready,
Yep.
you don't have to get ready.
There you go.
Mm-hmm,
There you
mm-hmm,
go.
mm-hmm. That's me, always ready to say words at people.
Well, if you ever want me to pretend like I'm your
Oh,
dad and you
please.
need to like mock through it, just
I
let me know what type of beer he likes and like gotcha. I'll be right there with a can of it in my right hand, trying to sound like your dad.
well, you know, Gary, I would have you do that, but I value you too much as a friend. I value you too much as a friend. Um,
uh,
well, anywho, on that somber note, so that's a little backstory. That's my life. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next to the Floor. Thanks for listening. Um, I hope everybody had a fantastic Labor Day, the day where we celebrate everything that labor unions have given to us, namely the 5-day, 40-hour work week, minimum wage laws, um, child labor laws, other things that have stemmed from the workers' rights movement, etc., etc.
yeah, go unions.
Go unions! I'd like to think I'm fairly pro-union, with
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the exception of a couple of
a
unions
couple of unions.
that are out there.
I don't know anything that's like law enforcement unions. I don't like. Yeah, I don't like that.
That union's looking really white.
For-
We need to cut it.
like for what?
You need to
For what?
cut
Why do you need a?
it.
Why will you need a law enforcement union?
For what?
For what?
For whom? For whom? The already most protected group. So you can back the blip even more.
I can just imagine the union like meetings as like a homo like imagine a homeowners
Homeowners
association
Association
meeting.
meeting. Oh my god! Don't
But
even get
like
me started with the
like
Homeowners Owners Association. That is some white privilege ass bullshit. Imagine buying your own house and then having people tell you what you can do with your own house.
oh
The
man.
audacity, the gall, the
Oh my
gumption.
god.
Y'all must
Bro, and
be
they always use it if they're in the neighborhood, they always use that as like I
yes.
don't know, as like some like a well, I am in the homeowners
And and
association.
and
And
I
it
okay, and
oh, let me tell you. Okay, I know we gotta wrap it up, but like, let me tell you this one story. Like, I'm like, I used to work FedEx in Vegas. I used to work FedEx in Vegas, running around the packages when I was teaching and dancing and doing all this
mm-hmm.
stuff. And I would always go into these fancy neighborhoods, and they would always be looking up me up and down, like, are you sure you work with FedEx? Meanwhile, I'm in a FedEx truck. Like one lady had the like literally was like, let me check your ID. And I'm like, my truck. I get in and out of it. It says FedEx on it. And you're like, yeah, but it could be just any painted truck. And I'm like, whatever, lady. Here's my FedEx ID, right?
Wildin'.
And then like and the thing is, like, it's not even like a FedEx ID because we work for contractors. So she's like, this doesn't look like a FedEx ID. And I'm like,
You're like, all
so
right,
who are you, lady?
right.
And
Are
like,
you
I'm a part of the homeowners
you're like,
association. I'm like,
okay.
oh, well, you know what? Let me, like, I'm just going to
Unless
go
you
ahead and leave
right,
now.
unless you are literally unless you are paying my bills.
But
Unless
anyways,
you are
that's what I
paying my
imagine.
bills, you can't tell me nothing.
I know, right? That's what I imagine
Mm,
a law enforcement union's meeting. It's like
yes.
a homeowners association. Just like, oh, when are we gonna have the next force the force cookout? probably on the 4th of
For
July.
real. And we really need to talk to the people in house number 101. They've got their garbage cans placed on the wrong side of their driveway.
Jeez. Whoever made that? I get it why it's for to protect the interests of the owners like living in that community. But like I feel like nobody likes their homeowner
I
association
have
like
not met a single. Listen,
management.
I have never met a single person who enjoys a singular other person on their homeowners association board. And if you told
Going
me
taking
that you are one of those people, I know you are a dead lie. You are a dead lie. Ain't nobody like,
I want to move
and you want me to pay you? You want me to pay a fee?
a lot of money. That's a lot of money, dude.
For what? For
That's
what?
have you ever Googled the homeowner association fees in some of these neighborhoods and like some of like in like these high end neighborhoods? Man,
They got
it's
me.
like a whole nother house.
Yes.
I swear.
You want me to pay a mortgage plus? A mortgage plus? Got me fucked up.
And then complain when my dog poops on my yard.
On my
Get
out.
Louise, get out of here.
Yeah, reckless.
I'm acting like I
Right.
own a home in a homeowner's
Right.
association.
Here I am acting, whereas I live in an apartment in a complex, so I rent. But honestly,
which is like all we're gonna be able to do in the future, because like with rent, which is what we're gonna be able to like. We're not gonna be able to see a homeowners association grant
Thank God
hopefully.
for that.
Thank God for that, but like I don't think we're gonna ever see like a home either.
The bleak outlook of it all.
Oh
well, on that note,
and by the time we'll be able to afford a home, we probably won't even be able to afford the amount of air conditioners we need to put in those things because of global warming.
Ugh. That's bleak. Well,
the air conditioners will be more expensive than the houses.
The facts, dead ass. Well, so y'all, I think it's on that note we should probably wrap things up before we launch into another tirade against, stupid stuff. So, first and foremost, I wanted to give a huge thanks and shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Y'all have been really killing it lately. Thank you so much. If you want to help out Next to the Floor, please head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/next to the floor. That is the number 2. Several people have been like, your link's not working, and it's largely because you're typing in the word TO rather than the number 2. So like 1, 2. So patreon.com/next to the floor. The link is in the description below. You can also check us out on all of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/next to the floor. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/next to the floor. You can also see my gaming channel, Hey J Gaming, YouTube. Check us out on Twitch. My Twitch handle is right there, xxheyjxx. You can check out Gary, instagram.com/_good_guy. It's actually above you. _guy. There you go. _Gary. There it is. Woo! Go on. Go ahead, Vanna. Yeah. And with that, remember everyone, how much money does it cost?
It takes $0 to be a good person.
Amen. It takes $0 to be a good person. But
what's honestly, but due to inflation, it might cost like 50 cents
it
to
might
a
cost you
dollar
50
now.
cents.
So,
and it costs about $5 to support this channel. So it costs $0 to be a good person and $5 to support this channel. So make sure you do that. As ever, we love you, appreciate you. Thank you all so much for supporting us. Gary, as always, it's been real. I will see you on Wednesday, and we will see you all in a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks.
Not next week, and not the week after, because we will be coming back from Florida.
Florida.
From Florida. Hanging out with Mr. 305.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. Senor Todo El Mundo. As it were. But on that note, have a wonderful rest of your day. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mr. Worldwide.
305.
305. You know, he's from Dade County, Miami.
Dade County, Miami. Okay, I thought you were gonna say he's from like Wisconsin or something.
No, he's from the 305. He, you know, his first label flopped, which is sad.
Well, because it was all Spanish, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know.
It was all Spanish, and then once he started mixing it with like bilingual, then he just started doing better. I think I read I watched a documentary on him.
He has a documentary on him?
Or I don't know, or I read something on like Wikipedia. I don't know.
He's really the only person ever who has rhymed the words fire with fire. And like,
yeah, I mean,
but like, not like using the word fire in like different, like, I don't even know if there are different, for using the word fire in like different contexts, like different definitions
like,
of the word fire.
Like fire a gun?
Like fire a gun, or
fireplace?
you're gonna get, like he literally is like, this blah 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 is fire. And then look at my watch, isn't it fire? So, there you go.
Yeah, it doesn't really,
Something to think about.
You know what's awesome though? A perfect authentic cadence in a Catholic hymn. That's awesome.
Something to consider.